women tell me that they, they're scared of their abusers, perhaps when they're under charges and they're not in custody. They bump into him in the local supermarket, or they live around the corner from a member of their family. Sometimes they get harassed by these people.
Andy Burnham is saying he will call for a review into all possible legal options after it emerged that the Rochdale Grooming gang leader will be released from prison tomorrow but will not be deported. It's because of immigration law dating to the 1970s. Shabir Ahmed can't be forced to leave the country because he arrived in the UK from Pakistan before 1973, and he lived in the UK for at least 5 years before deportation was considered. So let's first talk to Paul Waugh, the Labour MP for Rochdale. Welcome to you, Paul.
Hi, John.
Good to have you here. So, Shabir Ahmed, he can't be deported despite multiple rape and sexual assault convictions. He's protected by law. What are you thinking?
Well, it's outrageous, and I share the anger of many people in Rochdale and the wider Northwest that this man who committed such horrific crimes cannot be deported because of what's a loophole in the 1971 Immigration Act. I think many of us would like to see the law changed. I think Andy Burnham is absolutely right to grip this because ever since I was elected as MP for Rochdale, I've been pushing hard to make sure that all those who could be deported that were involved in the grooming case are deported. There are 4 of them, believe it or not. This is just one of them. And I greatly dismays me that so far the system hasn't been able to work. There are lots of reasons for it. I personally think that the Home Secretary should be given sweeping powers to deport anyone convicted of a serious sexual offence, and that should, at a stroke, give them the power that we need to make sure our communities feel safe, particularly the victims who should be at the heart of all this. We cannot have a situation where we have people popping up in communities amongst those that they've abused.
Right, and you've been making your voice heard on this, Paul, presumably to the team around Andy Burnham, or to Andy Burnham himself. What sort of feedback have they been giving you?
Well, I've been really pleased that Andy's got a long and impressive record on the whole issue of grooming. Ever since he became mayor in 2017, within weeks of him becoming mayor, he saw the horrific documentary about what happened in Rochdale in the grooming case and the drama documentary Three Girls. And he didn't just wasn't just appalled by that, he decided to do something about it. So he set up independent inquiries. Those inquiries have led ultimately to serious convictions and jailing of some of these perpetrators. But Andy gets the fact that public confidence is really important in all of this, and that it depends on the criminal justice system working for ordinary people. And that means making sure that no stone is unturned, a legal stone unturned, when it comes to deporting people who can be deported. One of the problems we've got in this case, John, is that the Pakistani government are refusing to take back some of these guys who've had dual nationality and have rescinded their Pakistani citizenship. Now, the courts have made clear that they can't do that, and there's no human rights reason for them to do that. But it depends on Pakistan being made clear by the UK government that they should take them.
Is there an indication of what the Pakistan government position on this would be? And if there's a problem, what should be done about it?
Well, the Pakistanis have been in talks with the UK government for some time, certainly since this government came into power. And there have been delegate negotiations. Certainly, I know there have been intensive negotiations last year and early this year. There are efforts going on to make sure that this does have a breakthrough, but it's very difficult. And that's way above my pay grade, that sort of diplomatic engagement. But my clear message from my constituents is that enough's enough. It's simply unacceptable that someone who should be deported to Pakistan cannot be.
Right, so we need to watch that on as it were, the diplomatic front. But closing this loophole, Labour's got a massive majority. It's hard to imagine anyone not wanting to close this loophole in either House of Parliament. That should be a relatively simple business, shouldn't it?
I really hope so, John. I know that Andy has said that he wants the Home Secretary and the Foreign Secretary to look at all options open to them. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. I know that one thing's for certain, that Yvette Cooper and Shabana Mahmood are both gripped of this, the need to act. No one can accuse them of backpedaling on being tough on this kind of stuff. But what they need to do is make sure that the the law is fit for purpose, and we as a government need to make sure that happens too.
All right, Rochdale Labour MP Paul Waugh. Thanks, Paul, for coming on. Now let us talk to David Greenwood now, who is a lawyer who represents victims of the grooming gangs and is head of child abuse. Let's talk to you, David. Hi.
Hello, John.
Hi, welcome. Tell me about your thinking on this case, and tell us too, if you can, the feeling among victims about this case and what it represents.
Well, this is something that I come across pretty regularly. Women tell me that they're scared of their abusers, perhaps when they're under charges and they're not in custody. They bump into him in the local supermarket, or they live around the corner from a member of their family. Sometimes they get harassed by these people. So these women that I represent are genuinely scared of these men. So this is a problem. When they're all going to be released eventually. Only a fraction of them are being convicted. So there are a lot of these men already out there anyway. Never mind the ones that have been released from prison. It is a real problem.
David, can you explain why this loophole exists? Why are men like this able to shield behind the law?
Well, this Immigration Act 1971 wasn't designed to cope with this situation. It was designed to cope with wrong-uns back in the 1970s, and it wasn't envisaged that they would be sex offenders. It says that if a person came here before 1973 and has spent more than 5 years here, they're not able to be deported after being convicted. It will apply to a tiny number of people, I'm sure, now, and I suppose the loophole could be closed, but it will apply to a tiny number of people. Yeah,
but still a loophole you would wish to be closed, and it does sound, as I suggest, like a relatively straightforward parliamentary procedure.
Yeah, very easy to do. As long as the Labour Party finds time to do it, it can do it, yeah.
All right. Now, more broadly, we have this review now, don't we, of the grooming gang reviews. It's under Baroness Anne Longfield, the former Children's Commissioner, and it's due to report in 2029. Do you have hopes of that? Are you expecting justice and progress?
Okay, so I've been involved in the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, which covered the whole gamut of institutional abuse in the country, and a number of the people that I helped through that process felt let down by it. They felt as though they were set up and weren't given accountability through the whole thing. The women that I'm representing in this new inquiry are already complaining that their voices aren't being heard enough, and they want to be at the centre of things. The chair and panel are really trying hard to engage with them weekly, and are trying to set up meetings with them so that they can hear everything that they have to say. There's so many women who have been let down by the establishment in all its forms all the way through their lives that they have little trust. Although, if on a personal level, they may have little trust. I'm quite hopeful that if we are able to navigate or make sure that this inquiry uses its resources to look into the right areas, we can demonstrate the depth and seriousness of this problem, and we can work out ways to stamp it out and stop it for future generations.
All right, so David, if you can, give us some sense of the kind of outcome of this review of reviews that would leave the victims you talk to and know so well, that would leave them feeling satisfied. What should happen?
Well, firstly, in the here and now, the victims that I've spoken to want to make sure that all the perpetrators of abuse are tracked down, caught and locked up for a very long time. Secondly, they want to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. Yeah. That's really their aim. So they want to find ways of monitoring this type of activity, stamping it out very early, and getting rid of these dangerous men, and getting rid of the this attitude that gangs of men can treat girls on our streets this way.
And you think it's just natural and right that the victims of these crimes should want that. But is it going to be possible for a review under Baroness Anne Longfield to fulfil those wishes to the extent that these victims would wish them to be fulfilled, to as it were, relitigate some of the cases, some of the cold cases, and get them in shape for another trial, or rediscover and discover unprosecuted cases? Is that going to be any part of the role of a review like this, David?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. The inquiry can send things back into something called Operation Beacon Port, which is a national police investigation looking back at old cases such as this. But more significantly, this review, this inquiry, has to have the backing of whatever government is in force at the time that its final recommendations come out. It will make recommendations, and we will need the government at the time and the country to put its full weight behind those recommendations to make sure that it has the best shot of changing or improving victims' rights and improving the situation with regard to this type of horrendous crime. We need to stamp it out.
David Greenwood, good to talk to you, lawyer who represents victims of the grooming gangs. Now, if you were affected by any of the issues we're discussing here, do get in touch. Do contact us at feedback@times.radio. feedback@times.radio.